stars are in light, the weeper, we would know.
And we are live. There you go. It's the first official Improving Sales Performance live cast of 2021. So that's kind of exciting. For those of you that have watched before, you'll notice I have a new background. That's kind of exciting. We're in a new location, and this is my new office. It's not a backdrop. It's not a backdrop. This is actually here. It's not a virtual background. So that's kind of exciting for me. Let us know if you're watching live, and I know that there's a bunch of people that are watching live. Go ahead and post in the comment. Tell us where are you watching from. That's always fun for us to see, and also some good practice on how to use the comments. If you have questions or comments as we're going, I can see those come up, and I'll try to work those questions in. We have a great show to bring you today, a great guest. I'm super excited about this. Gary Pizzati is a longtime friend, a former client of the Center for Sales Strategy, and a current friend. He's currently, I'll give you a little bit of background on what Gary's doing. We'll get into that too, but Gary's currently the CEO of 11th Street Media. Before that, he was the president and chief revenue officer for Modern Luxury Media. And then prior to that, he spent about 18 years at Cumulus as the SVP over major markets, managing and overseeing over $400 million worth of annual revenue. And that's a big job.
I can't believe I'm still standing.
And you're here, and that's great. So glad to be here. Let's just jump right in, because I know I have a ton of questions, and I'm sure other people will have questions too. What are you up to these days? What is 11th Street Media? What are you doing?
Oh, geez, it's been a long time since I've seen a lot of my colleagues, and I see there's a ton of them that are checking in on the comment section. Hello to everyone. It's been, I left Cumulus Media after a great run in 2016, and I was under a pretty tight contract, so I couldn't work, talk, speaker, do anything in the media for a little bit over 18 months. So I had to sit that out. And after that, I went back to work for Lou Dickey and John Dickey and Michael Dickey at Modern Luxury, became the president, chief revenue officer of that company, merged two wonderful publishing companies together, and went through all the trials and tribulations about that. And then I left there after 2 years because I wanted to form my own company, and I did, which is 11th Street Media. And we're a traditional ad agency, if you want to call it that, but we're a lot more than that, because we offer a lot more consulting. We work very, very closely with our clients on interconnecting their brands, rebranding their businesses for them, But more importantly, what we do is, because of the experience that I had running broadcast businesses, we work with them on sales strategy, sales processes, on how to get there. Look, if you're selling advertising or widgets, you're selling something to somebody. So, the selling cycle is changed dramatically over the past couple of years with the internet ecosystem, what's happened with it. So we work very, very closely with workflow processes and everything else. So we really are an ad agency on steroids, and it's a big advantage to our clients that we have this kind of skill set. We can offer this to them, as we get into their companies. So we have a host of clients. A lot of them are on today watching, and hi to everyone, and it's good to be here.
So what are some of the differences that you're noticing these days with both how people are selling, but also how people are buying? What are you seeing? Because that's obviously changed over the years.
Well, Matt, clients are really confused. They're confused because they were used to a traditional media platform. I'm either going to buy newspaper, radio, television, the local newspaper, Valpak, postcards, whatever it may be. And now you have this big wave of technology that has come in. And I look at it this way. And when I hold sales meetings, I always say this to people, because they ask me all the time about behavioral marketing and what that all means. And I say to them, look, to put this in the most simplistic terms for you, just imagine if you're going to your local supermarket, and your local supermarket knows somehow, some way, that you are a big fan of ice cream. And as soon as you walk in the front door, there's ice cream everywhere you look. And it's the same thing with behavioral marketing that they do when you're on Facebook or Twitter or any one of the social platforms, where you turn around and they know what you like, where you are, who you are, and clients are still a little unsure and uneasy on how to navigate through that and how to notch in their space for a certain level of budget. Because, if you think about it, in 2019, Facebook did $70 billion. They have 3 million advertisers. They don't have any salespeople. Think about that. LinkedIn right now is up to about 6.7 billion forecast for 2020. We'll see how close they come to that. It's all self-serve. So if you think about it, advertisers are now trying to get that all figured out. Do I go back to traditional media? Do I turn around and go to the new media? Am I advertising on TikTok, or they don't know. And that's why we really come in, and a lot of agencies, and there's a lot of terrific agencies out there that come in and really help them navigate through those seas, because it's ever changing.
Right.
It's ever changing.
Right. And like we've always said for years, right? No business owner wakes up in the middle of the night and says, you know what I need to do? I need to buy some advertising, right? They need to grow revenue, or they need to sell their product. They need to make they're looking for some desired business result, and buying advertising or using advertising or marketing as a solution is certainly one of the ways that they can do that. So I know one of the things that you've always been focused on is sales leadership, right? It's sales and sales leadership, and you have a lot of experience there. What are some of the things that you might be noticing these days, especially with work from home, on how sales managers are leading? What are they doing different, or what should they be doing different?
Yeah, it was kind of funny when I left Cumulus Media back in 2016. I was talking to someone, and I did a little bit of an analysis, and I realized that I personally hired about 75% of that company's sales leadership. And it was, and I don't remember half the folks that I did, but I do still keep in touch with a lot of them. But one of the things that I've always said to sales leadership, and if you want to go down the leadership path, is we'll go into your market as a senior vice president of the company. And the first thing we'll do is we want to have a sales meeting. We want to see the team. And just like a coach for football, if a great coach can hire great players and train them, a great sales leader can hire phenomenal people. And you walk in and they're up, they're bright, they're happening, they're engaged, they're good to see, they're happy to see you. And it's just a buzz in the room. And you look at the leader and go, no wonder why this market's doing so well. No wonder why there's more active accounts than last month. No wonder why the average unit rate's up, and all the metrics and all the crazy KPIs that we used to measure. No wonder why they're going this way, because the sales leader put in incredible people, allowed them to find their way, but at the same time, coached them every day, just coached them every day to make sure that they were doing things correctly.
Yeah. So going a little deeper on that, that you did hire so many people and so many really outstanding people.
Outstanding.
What should a sales leader be doing these days to recruit top talent, to focus on both the recruiting of people, but also focus on selecting the right people, right? The recruitment and selection being two different things. Recruiting people so that they want to work for you, selecting the best ones. What should a sales manager be doing? What does Gary do?
Well, it's kind of funny. I was talking to Scott Herman. I had dinner with him. Scott's from the CBS days. And Scott and I sat down and talked to me about the darkest day at CBS. And I was like, Scott, what is the darkest day at CBS? He goes, I'll tell you, when you took Chad Lopez and Peter Bowen, one of their two top sales leaders, they both resigned from CBS the same day. And they went over to Cumulus. We put Peter Bowen into Chicago, put Chad Lopez over PLJ in New York. And to get someone of that caliber, those guys were heavy hitters. To get someone of that caliber took it's a process. It's a sales process. You have to you have to become very aware. People have to be aware of you. So I spent a lot of time building my own brand on LinkedIn through Cumulus, through Modern Luxury. And then when I reached out to people, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to look at your profile. So I always had a system. And my system to recruit top talent was very simple. First thing you do is look at their profile. Step one. When they look back at you, they will look back at you. If they're active on LinkedIn, everybody wants to know who's looking at them. They will look back at you. Then once they look back at you, send them a note. Say, hey, it's Gary from Modern Luxury or Cumulus Media. I have an incredible opportunity to talk to you about. I'll be in Chicago on Tuesday, the 14th. Let's meet at a Starbucks, have a cup of coffee. And either they're going to say yes or no. If they say yes, they're interested in going further. I recruited so many amazing people. Jason Reno out of San Francisco, Justin Whitmire, San Francisco, Dan Uslan, Chicago. I can name hundreds of incredibly talented leaders that I've taken from other organizations and I did that because I was proactive on LinkedIn and I had a system down that still works today. But one of the things you don't want to do, it really angers me about LinkedIn sometimes, is if I connect with someone, they immediately pitch me.
Right.
Give me a little time to get to know you. Let me see some of your content. Let me see what kind of activity you got going on. Then pitch me. You know what I mean? But I spent a lot of time. I recruited all my talent in both companies directly from LinkedIn.
I would imagine when you would send that and say, hey, let's meet at Starbucks, I would imagine you would probably get some responses that said something like, happy to meet you, would love to get to know you. I'm really happy where I am right now, though, but I'd still like to meet you. And that's still good too, right?
That's still great because they're not happy.
Right. Otherwise, they wouldn't take the time to meet you.
There's something in the waters in their current organization that they're unsure of. And, look, let's just face it. It was a very turbulent time for broadcast media, even pre-COVID.
Right.
You had two major bankruptcies happen. You had markets growing at, less than 1% at times, ex-political in the negative numbers. So you got a lot of turbulence going on and a lot of reduction in force. And unfortunately, these amazing people were just riffed out. And while all this noise was going on, I was just hovering. And I was just feeding everybody a little dose of love all the time, going, hey, let's get together. And as soon as I knew they were uneasy, they always came to the meeting. But go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, so that's a good solution for recruiting top talent with experience that you can headhunt, right? You can spot them and reach out to them. Now, tell everybody, because you shared this with me, about what you did. I think it was like 20 years ago. I think it was in Mobile. Share that story, because I thought that was just fantastic.
Well, before I got promoted, I ran Mobile, Pensacola, which is a beautiful part of the country, for Cumulus, we had a couple of big Class Cs that really bled into both markets. So we had a lot of synergies going on with advertisers, and I had a tremendous group of sales management in those markets, and they always had a very difficult time recruiting people because they were so busy. Sales managers are busy managing salespeople, managing customers, managing pricing, managing inventory. So they have all this going on. So one day I said, you know what? I'm going to do a little boot camp. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a couple of spots on the air, and I'm going to say, hi, it's Gary Pizzati, market manager for Cumulus in Pensacola, Florida. If you're looking for a guaranteed sales position or guaranteed salaried sales position, we're looking for you. Long story short, you have to join our boot camp. And what I did is I brought in people. Step one was bringing the people in. I interviewed them, and I told them what this is going to be all about. Fast forward, I found 6, 7, or 8 candidates. And I said, here's the deal. You have to turn around and you have to show up on Tuesdays and Thursday evenings from 6 to 9 o'clock p.m. They're like, okay, you'll go through 12 weeks of a course from 6 to 9. At the end of those 12 weeks, you will graduate with a salaried position. Were my sales managers involved? Absolutely not. I was the one there at 6 o'clock at night with them in class. They had to take a midterm exam and a final exam, and they could only miss 2 classes. At the end of 12 weeks, I turned around and I added, if there was 6 or 9 or 10 people, 3/4 of them made it. At that point, some fell out. But what I did is I turned around and I handed my sales managers 6 people, completely trained, knew about radio, knew about other media, knew about how to fill out an order, knew how to do a CNA, how to, get leads, and how to, work on the phone. And I did that for, oh God, I still have the memo saved from and all the courses and all the curriculum saved. And it really worked well. But it was a lot of work.
Did you pay them hourly? Didn't you pay them?
Yeah, that's right. Because they had to sign a non-compete or non-disclosure because I was training them. So I had to pay them hourly to show up. That's right. I did forget that very key point. Yes.
Yeah, but think about that for a second. You paid them to come to this training that they had to commit to. They had to commit to coming for 12 weeks at night. But if they did it, they were guaranteed, if they made it through, not if they did it, if they made it through,
passed their final exam,
passed the final, they got a job.
They got a job that paid them, I think it was $2,500 a month guaranteed plus commission or whatever it may be. But we turned out a lot of great salespeople, and finding those amazing people and training them was really the catalyst that got me promoted.
Yeah, and I'll just put in a shameless plug for CSS. Imagine, again, I know you're a big fan of our talent assessment. Imagine if you back then, if you had that talent assessment to help you select, be like home run, right?
I was the one, and I got to tell you, I was the one who went to Lou Dickey and said, we have to talk to the Center for Sales Strategy. And we brought you on board. And it was one of the greatest things that we ever did in that side of that company. And I'm not just blowing smoke because I'm on your live broadcast. I'm just telling you, we did. And it was really a good way for us to take it to the next level.
All right, so let's switch subjects to 2021. Everyone's using video. First question, what are your thoughts on the impact of using video and working from home? I mean, if this is done right, is this a good thing? I mean, might we see this as a kind of a new way or a hybrid way moving forward?
Well, look, COVID retrained us with a lot of things. We're retrained now. We are, business is not the same as it used to be. How business has transpired is not the way it used to be. And look, and we talked about this the other day. We turned around and we had video cameras in conference rooms back in the early 2000s. And I was the one driving that initiative, because what I used to do is get into the office at 8 o'clock in the morning and I was on Eastern time in Atlanta. I wasn't traveling, and I would do a sales meeting and do sales training at 9 o'clock. And then I would do
You didn't put those cameras in there to spy on people?
No,
that's not what you did.
Even though the bloggers and all the folks said that we were, look, we were ahead of ourselves. Look what's going on today.
Right. Everyone does that now. That's like common practice.
It's common practice. But we had a wonderful time with our teams, and our teams really enjoyed it, because I wanted to see how our managers were training people. I wanted to see what kind of curriculums they were putting together, because I was a big fan of agenda-based training. Training that people knew what it was about, great participation, a lot of dialogue, because I could tell you right now, I was on the street, Matt, and I'll get back to your question in a moment. I was on the street more in markets, and I would just walk into a market and, do my normal routine with the management team. And I'd say, look, I'm going on a sales call with Joe, Judy, Jim, and I'd be on the street all day. And I can tell you right now, go on a sales call, first call, second call, close, whatever it may be, you'll be able to tell right then and there if they're trained or not trained. And the markets that were well trained used curriculums like the CSS and all the stuff that the Center for Sales Strategy has. There's more business closed because there's more problems being solved, and there's better listening, and there's better engagement with the client of what they want to do. There's not package pushers. I as an agency, believe it or not, I still get packages, and I just shake my head because no one really knows what my client wants.
Right.
So sit down with me, ask me what my client's looking for, and I'll see if you're a solution or not, because that's why we're the gatekeeper. But to your question is, with video today, with sales leadership, I mean, this is a terrific, it's really advanced now. The things that we can do with the StreamYard, what we're on right now, and Zoom, and all the great things that we're doing. You think about this. Group M turned around and put out, I think it was last week, ad revenue would be up 3.2%. Total U.S. ad revenue about $237 billion. Digital is going to grow about 9.6 next year, 9.6%, about 136 billion. So it's not, and that's coming off of a comp ex-political that's 40% down. Right. So really the lift is not really going to be there. So the best of the best are going to win. And if I was in sales today, let me take that back. I still am in sales today.
Right.
If being in sales today, I use high levels of social platform, high levels of communication through social platform. I'm very relevant on LinkedIn, and I keep myself very relevant there on LinkedIn. Just had a post last night about just a cool video that we put together. And you can use Zoom technology to have meetings with your clients that really don't interrupt their day. You're not going into their business and, hi, how you doing? The unfortunate part of it is they can't show you around like they would, where you can build that rapport. But it's a little bit more difficult to build rapport on Zoom than it is in person. Will we ever get back to that? I believe we will. I think 3Q 2021, we'll see a little bit of a relax, with people being more interactive with each other as vaccines get more, implemented and executed out there. But I really think that this technology, while you have it, use it, and use it often. Calendly, what a great program that is. I use it all the time. I send my clients a link. Tell me when you're available. I know when I'm available, and they pick their times. New targets, I send them a link. When do you want to talk? Oh, we'd love to talk, this and that. So all the things that technology is so plentiful today and makes our life so much easier. Use it. And if I was a sales manager today, managing a group of salespeople, I would have meetings every week as normal. Whatever documentation you like to use, or whatever works for you to get your salespeople a report back on what they're doing and what their targets are, what their pipeline looks like. I mean, all of that's the same. You're just not in a conference room with them. You're in your bunny slippers at your house, in the morning, talking to them.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that by the end of the year, we'll be back to being more comfortable seeing people and interacting with them face to face in person. But I don't think the technology is going to go away.
No.
Right? And I think that would be crazy to let it go away.
It won't.
The ability to jump. I mean, in the old days, a year ago, if someone wanted to meet with you, the way the conversation went was, great, Gary, I'm glad we're going to set up an appointment. How about next Wednesday, right? Today, because of video technology, we can say, how about tomorrow? right?
Sure.
Or how about this afternoon? We can just, the speed of business can just move so much faster. And you can't put it back in the box. It's there.
You can actually hold a video call with a client, send them a pitch via email or DocuSign them a note, or a contract. They can DocuSign it back. You can never be in their physical business and do business with them. So, and for folks who are in traditional media today, who are really because look, if you think about it, radio salespeople, I don't know, some of them are leading with digital. And it's surprising to me because it's not their core, business, but some of them are leading with digital because they have to, because clients are interested.
Yeah.
But if you have the ability, if I was training a group of salespeople today, and I know there's a lot on the call today, I would say get your face on social media as often as you can.
Yes.
Be the person that everyone can think about. As blog if you can, write articles if you can. We push things out on LinkedIn because remember, all the clients that I have, and Chris Page from Lincoln Associates is one of them. Chris had no followers on LinkedIn. Now he's up to almost 3,500. And I put a video and a blog and a post for him. I manage his profile. I manage all my clients, all the CEOs. I have access to all of their LinkedIn, and I manage all their LinkedIn for them.
Yeah, companies need to build their brands. Salespeople need to build their brands. CEOs need to build their brands. I mean, and by the way, if you're not there, well, that says something about your brand too.
That's right.
You're not there.
I used to tell my salespeople all the time, when you call a client for the first time and you call them cold, they're going to go, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to go to LinkedIn to see where you're at, what you're all. And if your profile looks terrible, then by all means, that it's going to leave a lasting impression on a customer or a target if your LinkedIn profile is up to speed.
So I have a couple more questions, but I'm going to invite anyone that's watching. If you have any questions, you can post them in the comments, and we'll try to get to them. But I do have a couple of more. I want to switch gears and talk about company culture. Yep. A lot of businesses have relied on the office place to be their culture. It was everyone came together, they were all in there. Maybe it was the way they organized, or maybe it was the setup of their conference room or their break room. And they kind of use that. Now that everyone is, most people are work from home or a version of work from home, we're noticing that the culture is really, really lacking, because the only interaction people have with each other is, did you get me that report? Or how much are you going to close that piece of business? There's not, hey, how you doing? So how important is culture in your opinion? And are there some things that you're doing that you could share with us?
Well, look, the technology today really has taken that personal touch away from, and COVID, COVID has taken that personal touch away. We're all aware of that. But there are things you can do like cocktail hours. Today, you could sit down and have a cocktail hour with. Now, I would never bring a bottle of wine into a sales meeting at 5 o'clock.
But you would on this.
Yeah, I don't want anybody driving home. But if everyone's home and we all have a glass of wine together, a wine and cheese event you can have with your team. You can have a luncheon, and you can send them all Uber Eats gift cards. They can all order Uber Eats, and you guys can sit down and have a nice lunch together. And there's ways where you can interact with your team on off hours and as far as like after 5 o'clock, where it's not I got to get home. Well, you are home. I got my daughter or son is coming off the school bus. No problem. You're home. So you can get on a call at 5:30 with us and enjoy a cocktail hour. I mean, what a cool thing for a sales manager to have is a wine and cheese party where they send each one of their team members a bottle of wine and some cheese. Right? FedEx them all.
Yes.
And everybody pops the cork and has a glass of wine together and gets a little happy, and everyone enjoys themselves. That's really building, culture. And I notice a lot of people are doing some online gaming where they're challenging each other, some video gaming online. They're working through that technology. So there's a lot you can do. There's a lot you can do remotely, except that interactive, the interactive stuff together in the same room. And we're going to get back to that. I mean, everybody thinks that, but we're going to get back to that with this option now meticulously crafted. So we'll get back to that eventually. And now we'll have two ways to communicate, which is interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. CSS, we've been a virtual company forever, and we got about 40 people that work here. And so we've never had that office, but yet I think we have an amazing culture. We do all sorts of fun things. We do step challenges. We do First Friday calls. We do lots of fun things to keep involved, but it has to be intentional, right? I mean, it has to be intentional. That's probably the real big key to this. All right, so we've been going for 30 minutes, and I like to try to keep these for 30 minutes. Gary, any final things that you want to say to everybody? You have their attention.
Well, we're launching a new company real soon. I got to keep the name under wraps, but it's gonna be able to impact some sales folks who possibly could have been ripped out, given opportunity. So that'll be coming out probably by mid Q1 to late Q1 to 2021. But in the meantime, it's been great to see everyone. I miss everybody. I think about you guys all the time, literally the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people and the 2 million miles I've flown with Delta in 11 years, in and out of markets. It was good to see everybody. And you never know, man. Who knows what's going to happen? I may be back in the space someday. I don't know, You
never know.
Never know.
We're going to go ahead and put your LinkedIn contact information up on the screen, and all of your contact information up on the screen, so people can keep up with you and be paying attention and following you on social media. Gary, I appreciate you being here today and being so open and candid. That means so much. And also thank you just for all the partnership over the years. That's
you're welcome. It was good seeing you and everyone else. Thanks, Matt.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Join us for our next episode, where we'll have another guest on, where we'll be focusing on improving sales performance and how to grow and develop a strong culture, and all the things that you've counted on us for years and years and years. Also, be sure to follow me on LinkedIn. I try to do a good job of posting and keeping things current. And with that, we'll say goodbye. I'll see you next week.
Stars are in light, the we burn.